What is the actual goal of the Kursk operation? Is Biden easing up his policy on long-range weapons? And how are Orthodox churches connected with Kremlin propaganda? This is week 130 of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. I'm Anna Belokur, reporting to you from Kyiv, and I'll be taking you through the top 3 stories from Ukraine this week. Ukraine's cross-border operation into Russia's Kursk Oblast enters its third week, with reports of new Russian villages claimed and over 1,000 square kilometers of Russian territory under Ukrainian control. President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that the official goal of the operation is to dig in and create a buffer zone that will prevent Russia from launching new attacks into Sumy Oblast, which was a concern after Russia opened a new offensive in the neighboring Kyiv Oblast this spring. The Kyiv Oblast only lasted 2 weeks, but stretched Ukrainian forces thin all along the front line, and likely allowed Russia to push further westward in Donetsk Oblast. However, to carry out the Kursk operation, Ukraine has already had to reallocate its forces to the area. In line with the high secrecy maintained by Ukraine before the incursion's start on August 6th, many experts believe that the true goal of the operation is yet to be revealed. Meanwhile, Ukraine is destroying bridges, disrupting rail lines, and doing everything else to ensure that when Russia finally starts to counterattack, they'll be at a significant disadvantage. Fighting has also been reported in Kyiv Oblast, with Ukraine's 3rd Assault Brigade saying on Thursday that it had managed to advance 2 kilometers into Russian-controlled territory. Russia reportedly lost hundreds of troops in just a few days. The brigade said that it launched the operation to prevent a Russian attack in the area of Makivka village in Luhansk Oblast, which borders Kyiv Oblast. And yet, these seeming steps forward for Ukraine do not change the fact that things are still going extremely poorly in the east, where more than 50,000 remaining residents of Pokrovsk in Donetsk Oblast have been given instructions to evacuate as Russian forces get closer to the city. Hundreds leave every day as the threat of living under occupation draws nearer, and all of Ukraine is anxious about the prospect of losing one of Donetsk Oblast's key remaining logistical hubs. The U.S. is reportedly considering sending Ukraine its first supply of long-range cruise missiles this fall, with the talks between Kyiv and Washington in advanced stages. These missiles would augment the F-16 fighter jets that Ukraine has already received and could allow Ukraine to strike deep in Russian territory. The missiles that the U.S. is reportedly considering providing were developed by Lockheed Martin and can be launched over 200 miles, or about 300 kilometers, from an F-16. This reduces the need for the F-16s to go too close to the border, which lowers the risk of losing them. Over the past few months, the U.S. has lifted some restrictions on Ukraine's use of donated weapons, but has remained resolute that Ukraine can't use ATACMS or other long-range weapons to strike Russian territory. Washington has said that the U.S. supplied arms that were used in the Kursk incursion are consistent with America's policy, but that long-range weapons remain off the table. With what is known and speculated about this issue, it's likely that we're in for more months of closed-door talks rather than drastic reversals of policy. How the Kursk incursion affects Ukraine's position in asking to use long-range weapons remains to be seen. This week, Parliament passed a controversial bill banning the activities of any religious organization that has ties to Russia. The Kremlin is calling it a war on Christianity, but Kyiv says it's a matter of national security. This move does not outlaw the practice of any faith. Rather, it puts pressure on Ukrainian Orthodox communities to sever ties with the Russian Orthodox Church if they haven't already done so. The Ukrainian Orthodox Church of Moscow Patriarchate, of which there are about 8,000 individual churches, was set up in the 90s as an arm of the Russian Orthodox Church. For the record, the modern Russian Orthodox Church is closely linked to the Kremlin, with the Patriarch of Moscow endorsing Putin as a political leader and praising the invasion of Ukraine. Although the Ukrainian Orthodox Church of Moscow Patriarchate officially declared themselves to be independent from their former headquarters in Moscow after the start of the full-scale invasion, they've been associated with pro-Russian sympathizing and spying throughout the war. Here in Kyiv, it's not unusual to read that the SBU is searching the main monastery in the city center because they suspect someone there of spying, spreading disinformation, or propagandizing for Russia. 63% of Ukrainians are in favor of banning the Moscow-linked Ukrainian Orthodox Church outright. With the introduction of this bill, churches with connections to Russia will have 9 months to end any remaining contact and then undergo an inspection by a special commission set up by the State Service for Ethnopolitics and Freedom of Conscience, which will determine if they're spreading Russian propaganda or inciting violence. The Ukrainian Orthodox Church insists that it already has ended all contact with Russia via its 2022 Declaration of Independence. But aside from the long-standing evidence to the contrary, it's not even clear within church law how the branch could be completely separated. The highest judicial body of the church has not even acknowledged the Ukrainian branch's independence. One alternative to the Moscow-linked Ukrainian Orthodox Church is the Orthodox Church of Ukraine. I know, easy to keep straight. Which was founded in 2018 specifically as an Orthodox institution that existed outside of Moscow's influence, and it became increasingly popular after the start of the full-scale invasion, as communities transitioned over to it. This bill might encourage more churches to follow suit, or it might just make it harder for Russian propaganda and instructions to reach willing audiences in Ukraine. I'd also like to take a moment to say that it's Independence Day weekend here in Ukraine, and in the patriotic theme of the holiday, I'm going to address a common question we get in the comments. Why is there always a bust of Lenin behind me? So, this is actually Taras Shevchenko, considered the father of Ukraine's fight for independence. His work is considered the bedrock of modern Ukrainian language literature, and just about every town in Ukraine has a Shevchenko street. Independence is what we stand for as a news organization and as a country, and your support is what makes our work possible. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to become a member of the Kyiv Independent community, please visit the link in the description below. I'll see you next week.